cuties. I'm Lanikia, and you're watching What Happened on the Soaps. This is General Hospital Edition. All right, guys, today is Thursday, January the 12th, 2023. Let's jump right into it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to have to give this like a 8.5. It was solid to me. It showed everything I wanted. There was a few couples that I was just like, I could have did without. I could have did with more airtime at the at the hospital, but let's go into it. So we see Cody as well as Sasha, and they're at the Quartermain still, and he's like getting drinks and everything for snacks for them. And she's worried because she's thinking about, they said something's wrong with Willow, and she hasn't heard back from Chase since then. And so she's worried about what's going on. And I said, are y'all trying to make Sasha and Cody together? But I think they're gonna do something with this because they keep talking, right, and he's distracting her by talking about wine and all that, and she was like, oh my gosh, you're such a good distraction. And then she starts telling him about her life, and he tells her about he tells her about Britt, then she tells him about Brando, and her mental breakdown, and so he's just there listening to her. And Cody can be very direct and borderline rude, but she likes it because she said it's refreshing not to have people guard their words around her. So then she starts talking about Gladys and her guardianship, and he said, Gladys? And she said, yeah, my mother-in-law. And he said, I know a woman named Gladys, but it can't be yours. And she said, oh, when you meet Gladys, you know her for sure. And Cody looked. I said, yes, Cody, that's that Gladys. So something's gonna come up. Cody is gonna end up um finding out. I don't know how this is gonna work out. I don't know what General Hospital is setting up. And I kind of hate it because we might not never see Sasha and Cody together again for like 2 months. You know how they'll start a storyline where they'll sprinkle something in and then you don't see them together. So I don't know. But I'm intrigued by that. If you're gonna keep Cody around, make him have a storyline that I'm interested in. And I'm interested in this Gladys and Sasha, because how much money of Sasha's are you gonna try to spend? Because right now she hasn't really spent the money, but she wants that 300,000 cash that she wants to use for Brando's garage. And somebody said in the comments yesterday, I can't remember your name, I'm sorry, that Gladys is showing her true colors again. I said she really is. This is the Gladys that I knew, the money hungry Gladys, always wanting to do that kind of stuff. But I still like Gladys, if that makes sense, because I think she wants to do right, but she's gotten caught up with Miss Wu. And I'm like, just go to your Sonny, because he'll back Miss Wu down, because she respects Sonny and Sonny respects Miss Wu. So he'll take care of that debt you have, and don't you do it no more. But anyways, child. So then we go over here to Cameron and Elizabeth, and Cameron is upset. He At this point he hates Ellis May's guts, because he's like, if this raggedy woman had never taped this revenge porn, Jocelyn and our relationship would have been good. And Elizabeth says, Cameron, because he finally breaks down and tells her that Josh broke up with him, but she said it was more reasons to it than that, Cam. If you think about it, y'all relationship wasn't the same when she found out you did that with Spencer and all that. I said, Chapu, their relationship was not the same, because Josh has the hots for Dex, and she wanted to be with Dex. That's why their relationship was not the same. But I mean, it is what it is. If you don't want to be with somebody, don't be with them. And so Cam finally understands that he played a part in it. He says, I played a part in it too. So that helps. And, he still want Esme to pay for what she's done. But, he and Elizabeth just have a nice moment. She says, I love you. He says, I love you too. I don't know, y'all. They just feel us on this episode. So then Gregory is at Alexa's office, and he says, oh, I didn't know you were coming. And she said, well, I mean, it's my office. What you doing here? And he was working on the paper and stuff with her. And she thanks him, and I don't know, they were just talking, y'all. I wasn't really interested in this part of the soap. I'm not gonna even lie to you, because y'all are fillers, and I needed more hospital scenes. But Alexis and Gregory, why didn't anybody tell me that this man played in Chesapeake Shores? I was watching that one day after not Bold, Days of Our Lives went off. I need my computer. My computer has to keep running, or it'll shut down too fast. So I had that played, and I looked up and I saw him. I said, what? But I don't watch the show. It looked pretty good. I can't get into it, but I'm gonna move on because I really don't know what they was talking about. I'm sorry. I know I reviewed these, but they whatever they were talking about, it wasn't interesting to me. They do their little flirt flirting and everything. So then Alexis gets a phone call and she says, "What is it?" And then she said, "Well, wait a minute, I'm interested in this." And I said, "Well, what's the phone call?" I believe it's Spencer supposed to give her some information about Esme. I'm sorry, y'all. So then we see, okay, so Brooklyn and Chase are on the outside, right? And Nina is on the inside with Wally, and Wally is just like, "Why is my mom? What, is my mom gonna be okay?" And Nina's just like, "Yes, your mom's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. Your dad just had to take her to the hospital just to get a little checkup." So Brooklyn and Chase are on the outside, and Brooklyn is like, "Oh my gosh, Wally is clinging to Nina. How are we gonna do this?" And I'm like, "By going inside." And then later on, she says, "Nina is really milking this. Oh my gosh, Michael wouldn't like this." I said, "Nina is milking what?" She's literally watching Wally until somebody comes to pick him up. Like, get off of it, Brooklyn. Like, you're the last person who should be judging anybody. And so then, y'all know I don't like Brooklyn anymore because I can't stand this whole her and Chase thing. Like, I used to like this couple and I wanted them to be together, but after all these attempts, and then Brooklyn just always does the wrong thing. I'm like, stop trying to make them be together. But anyways, they're outside so long. Nina had time to call Sonny. Sonny said, "I'm on my way." And Sonny made it in the house. And then Brooklyn them come in and they're like, "Sonny, well, weren't you looking on the inside? You didn't see all this happening." So they come in and he's like, Wally is so cute. He's like, "Grandpa Sonny," or "Grandpa." And Sonny's like, "Give me a big hug." And then Brooklyn comes over. When they come in, Nina, she says, "Michael called and told us to check on Wiley." And Nina was like, "Yeah, I called Sonny because she wanted somebody to come over with her." And so then Sonny is just like, because they're saying, "What's wrong with Willow? Have y'all talked about Willow?" And Nina's like, "Should we tell him?" And Brooklyn was like, "We're family. You should tell us." And so they let her know that Willow has leukemia, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And they're like, "To stage 4," and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And so then Sonny says he's gonna go over to the hospital, and Nina says, "Okay, I'll go with you." And that was it, y'all. That was it. And so then they leave. They tell Wiley goodbye, and Nina just tells him, "Even if I don't see you for a while, I want you to know that I love you. You're always in my heart, and I always will love you." And they're like, "Okay." And so they leave, right? And then Wally tells Brooklyn, "Why did mommy say Grandma Nina is a bad person?" And Brooklyn was like, "She said that? She said that to you?" And he said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, Grandma Nina, she makes mistakes sometimes." And of course, Brooklyn had to turn this about herself. "She makes mistakes sometimes, but she's sorry for her." I said, "Brooklyn, why are you look? You're I, no girl. But anyway, she tells Chase, "You could go ahead and leave." After they get Wally to bed, she tells him, "You can go ahead and leave." And he ends up leaving. I mean, he ends up telling her, "I'm not leaving," because they already got Michael's relationship with Sonny is strained, and then Josh and Nina with Carly, there's tension there. He said the last thing they need is Willow's ex-husband showing up. And they were like, "Yeah, we get that." And so they're like, "Okay." He tells her, "I'm gonna stay." And so he ends up reading them a bedtime story. And Brooklyn and Wally go to sleep, and he says, "I'll be protected." I said, I don't care. I don't care if y'all are trying to worm your way into, y'all are like, "Okay, we're gonna put Sasha um with Cody," and then like let so that can get, because it looked like Sasha and Chase were gonna do something, but now we can go back to Brooklyn and Chase. No, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in the storyline. I'm not interested in Chase and did I say Sasha? I'm sorry, Brooklyn. I'm not interested in Chase and Brooklyn. Y'all lost my interest in that. I'm not coming back around to it. Sorry, you took too long. All right, y'all. So then we get to the hospital, and Carly, Drew, and Joss arrive and everything. and TJ is there, and they said, TJ, can you give us information about Willow? And he said, I just came on, but I'll have somebody come out and talk to you. And they're like, okay. So then Drew pulls Carly to the side and he says, Carly, you need to tell. And she said, this ain't the time, because they still think at this point that she has a donor for her bone marrow transplant. So she's like, this ain't the time. He said, Carly, I'm not gonna keep sitting on this secret. And she said, I understand that, but this ain't the time to tell. And I said, Drew, I mean, right now it's not really the time to tell. You know what I mean? It's not really the time to tell. Let her get a bone marrow transplant. Because I'm pretending like I don't know that the bone marrow transplant person fell through. I said, let her do this, and then then Carly can tell. I understood Carly's reasoning about that. I don't agree that she kept it secret, but I understood that Carly's reasoning. And Kiki, I have to agree with you. Like, y'all not finna tell me that, oh, Carly kept this secret because Harmony asked her to. Harmony was a kidnapper because she kidnapped that baby at birth. The baby was given to her, but she knew that mama was in a coma, so she's a kidnapper. She was a negligent parent because she didn't even pay attention to all that stuff that happened with Willow. That was on Harmony's watch. And then she was a liar and a murderer. I mean, stop it. Y'all not, you gonna have to come stronger than that if you want to tell me that it was because she was saving this secret for Harmony, because Harmony was nobody to keep a secret for. Anyways, let's move on. So we see Carly, Michael, Joss, and Drew. And Michael's like, what are you guys doing here? And so they said, what happened? And he was like, she collapsed, and they were like, where's Wiley? He's like, she's with Nina. But then he tells them, what are you doing here? And they said, Nina called us. And he was like, oh yeah, she told me she was gonna call you guys. And he didn't want to really say about Willow, but Drew told him Carly knows. And Josh says Sonny told me, and he was like, Sonny, how does Sonny know? And she was like, I don't know, he wouldn't say. But anyways, so he's telling them he doesn't know about Willow. He just hoping that that she continues to fight, right? So then Sonny and Nina arrive, but they keep their distance, they stay away. And Terry comes out, and they say the baby is fine, but Willow is in critical condition. And so she tells them, they're going to be monitoring her, and she's stable, but it's not looking good for Willow. She needs that transplant. And so then they start talking about, Michael has to tell them, because because Drew was like, I thought she got a transplant, like she had a donor, and he said it fell through. And they said, what? He was like, yeah, it fell through because the donor had a health issue, so Willow has to have a transplant. That's the end of the story, because they said, what else is gonna happen? He was like, she has to have this transplant. So then Drew was looking at Carla like, girl. And I said, boy. So then Joss goes over, and she's comforting what's his name, Michael. And she's like, how could a donor put themselves on the list? He said they probably didn't even know they had anything wrong with them. And she was like, oh yeah, that's true. And she was like, what do you need from me? And then Joss gets a text from Dex talking about, I hope everything is okay, I'm thinking about you and all that. And Michael said, who was that? And she said, somebody different. Because I think he might have asked if it was her mom or Cam. And she said, somebody different. But she was like, what do you need from me? And he was like, I just need you to be here. And she was like, okay. And then Josh ends up going into the room with Willow and just telling Willow, you got to fight. I know you need a bone marrow transplant, but you got to be strong. You got to fight. And so then Sonny and Nina say, let's go to the chapel and, have a seat. Because even though they're not wanted, they're like, we're going to be there to show you our support. So they go to the chapel, and Sonny said he just wants to give Michael a hug, but he doesn't want it. And it hurt. Like, that's devastating for him, but he understands it. So he's just going to, he's just going to be in the cut, lay back in the cut and do what a father is supposed to do. Like, even if your son doesn't want you around, he's still gonna show his support. And Nina said, yeah, I'm gonna show my support for Michael and Willow as well. And she's there to support Sonny. And so they're gonna stay out of the way. And I was like, okay, good. So they're just like, we're gonna be in the chapel. We're just gonna stay out of the way. They're not gonna bother people. I said, that's good. And so then Drew goes to Carly, and he said, girl. And she said, Drew, oh God. She said, I didn't know. And he was like, you have to tell Carly, like, you cannot keep holding this. This is Willow's life now. You have to say something. She said, I know what needs to be done. Baby, I'm thinking she going over to talk to Nina. This girl goes in there to talk to Willow, and she says, Willow, please. please wake up. This could be a matter of life and death. Like, this could help save your life. I said, B, Carly, Carly, what are you doing? Go to Nina and tell them. But I guess she feels like I have to get Willow's permission. Well, hell, you didn't get her the permission to keep the secret. Like, what are you doing? Just go and tell. Like, the girl is not waking up. She's not waking up right now. Go and get some help. And so she goes back out to Drew and she said, Willow didn't wake up. And he was like, Carly, you have to tell. And she said, okay, I know what I have to do. She was like, I'm going to go see. He was like, where you going? And she said, I got to go see Nina. She said, will you go to Michael? He was like, yeah. And she said, will you tell him for me and tell him I'm sorry? I said, girl, Michael going to forgive you. Here. And like, for a moment, Michael might be a little upset. He might be a little upset. Like, what? Are you kidding me? She knew, but he's going to understand. He's not going to, like, unless the writers just go completely left with this, I don't see them really being mad at Carly. But I don't know. Y'all can tell me what you think in the comments. And so Drew sees Michael and he says, where, you see my mom? And she said she went to speak to Nina. And he says, this night is bad enough. Why is she going to speak to Nina? And Drew said, Michael, there's something you need to know. And so he's like, okay. So then we see Nina and Sonny are in the chapel because they said they was gonna stay out the way, and so they're in the chapel. And Carly comes in and she tells Sonny, I need to speak to Nina alone." And Sonny was like, "Huh?" And Nina says, Sonny, it's okay. You could go on. So he leaves, and it's just Carly and Nina in the chapel, and they're not saying anything. And let me tell you, the amount of disappointment I felt when they started off the preview for tomorrow with Jordan, Portia. Yes, Jordan was in it, Portia's in it, and Curtis. And I said, we don't have time for you to be trying to fill some scenes. I need hospital scenes. Like, I hate when they do that. Like, sometimes, like, you had all week to fill them up. The end of the week, I needed to be hospital scenes with Michael, Willow, Nina, Carly, Sonny, John. I need those scenes. I don't want to see anybody else really. I love me some Trina and Spencer. I don't want to see all that. I want to see how this all goes down at the hospital. Don't be cutting into their airtime trying to give these other people some filler scenes. But y'all know it. Anyways. All right, guys. That was General Hospital today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys tomorrow for an all new episode of What Happened on the Soaps General Hospital Edition. And I am ready for it. Don't forget, I'll be going live this Friday, January the 13th. What time? 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 4 on the West Coast. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.